Yeah, maybe you could just tell me a bit about your early roots in Montreal. Were you born and raised there?
Born and raised in Montreal, there's a very strong Haitian community, but there's also a new generation of Haitians born in Montreal. So there's this mix of culture that is somewhere between Haiti, Quebec, the European side, influences of France, and the American culture that we've been consuming. It's a very multicultural city, so there was definitely a big Haitian community, but there was also a lot of cultures that we were exposed to. I grew up, like my closest friends, we were a group of five, six maybe, and it was one girl that grew up in Montreal but had Asian background, one Jewish, Moroccan, French girl, one Moroccan Muslim. So everyone was just meeting each other's culture, religions. There was a lot of mix happening, a lot of Arabic people also in university and in school. So it's very, very multicultural.
Did you grow up speaking Creole also?
Yes, but mostly French. It's a classic here. When you're younger, you just want to fit in with your friends. So your parents will speak to you in Creole and you'll answer in French.
Uh,
And then eventually when you're outside of the house and you realize that's a secret language for you to use with your Asian friends or internally, then you use it a bit more. Yeah.
well, why haven't you sung in Creole? What was the thought there? Or
I always went with what came naturally, and I did grow up musically in English. My references, my musical education, I would say, was made in English when it comes to everything I was discovering in jazz and soul, neo soul. All my influences were mainly Afro-American, and they were all in English.
were you learning the music mostly off recordings, or were you taking lessons in Montreal when you were younger?
Oh, no, I never took lessons. Well, I started music pretty late. So I learned on my own from a different kind of approach that is more in a spiritual ground or wanting to vibrate and transmit vibrations and emotions through sound. So it's been a journey that is mixed between music and connection, I guess.
Well, so you had your trilogy of albums, and then you had the 2023 album. How was the 2023 album different from the trilogy, do you think?
Well, it's the first of a new trilogy, and the
Oh,
first trilogy was definitely there was an exploration and practically academic perspective to it in the sense of the way I was looking at it, I was really thinking, okay, I see a connection between music and the creation of musical styles and the emotional baggage that those humans were going through, historically speaking. And I felt like we have all the history books to tell us about where, what happened with who, the dates, etc. But music is that place where we get to encapsulate a moment of history emotionally. And that's something that fascinated me. And I saw a clear parallel between blue and blues, red and jazz, yellow and soul, disco, and neo soul music. So it was kind of my way of revisiting these musical genres that raised me in order to figure out who am I, what do I love, what vibrates true with me as much as possible. And that's the place from which I started the new trilogy, where it's now anchored in today, me and my music, taking in account the whole heritage that those musical styles and my ancestors gave me. What do I now create from my vision of the world and my understanding of music and frequencies?
one of your kind of real core kind of focuses, I guess, would be jazz. You came to jazz in Montreal. Do you feel like Montreal is still kind of an international center for jazz?
I believe it is, especially when it comes to the Montreal Jazz Fest. It is definitely a huge platform and a place where we get to see so many artists, and the definition of jazz has been opening up as well. It's something I find really interesting because there was a part of it that was kind of becoming, how do you say, the elitist or the idea that has to be a very intellectual format of extremely complex, unexpected notes, and what is the purest, the notion of jazz that is anchored in what was done in the past, as if we are to repeat that and remain stuck to that vision of jazz. And I think it's very important for it to be democratized because it's something that belongs to the people and it's an art form that promotes freedom of expression. So that is something everyone can make their own. I think jazz has become something that is so much bigger than the music. There's a mindset to it, openness to it, new music, new sounds, new energies that makes me really excited to see it bloom this way.
Wouldn't the roots of jazz be Haitian? I mean, New Orleans would be the birthplace, and many Haitians were there making music, right?
Absolutely, but we can also go, to me, it's all the way down to percussions in Africa.
Yeah,
You know, it's
sure.
definitely because the Haitian culture, being African as well, has its roots somewhere much further to me and much more spiritual than people might want to see it sometimes.
You mentioned a number of times your connection to the ancestors and what they said to you. You know, certainly in the last album, that was a big part of it. What have you learned from the ancestors? And are these Haitian ancestors or more general ancestors?
The ancestors are everyone who came before us and allowed this building to exist so that we can add a brick to it. It's also definitely the motherland. It's the spirits, it's the energy. It's what they taught me and remind me constantly is how connected we are, not only to each other and to the nature around us, but even to the spirits that are here with us, guiding and protecting us through the process. The importance and the power of unconditional love, that is what they constantly feed us and what they also used to have this level of resilience, this level of strength, this level of wisdom that they're passing on. So I think those are the main pillars. The fact that we're full of strength and that we can use that strength to overcome the traumas that history might leave.
So if you were to tell someone a couple of your favorite spots in Montreal, if they'd never been to Montreal, what would you recommend? It could be underground or well known.
Well, I would send them to eat some griot at Méli-Mélo, and then they can get their pâté at Emerson. I would suggest they walk around because that's what Montreal is for. Montreal is so small, you can definitely just walk it, bike it, go to the water, to the old port, go to the mountain, Mont-Royal. It's not a mountain, it's a mount, but I mean, we like to call it a mountain.
Mound, yeah.
So I would encourage them to just walk around and discover for themselves because it's just so filled with little treasures everywhere that it deserves the time to explore and walk in random places and just be in awe of all the little hidden gems.